but you're thinking like a broke person, bro. Like you're just thinking like a broke person. Put a gun to your mother's head or to someone you love's head, and it's going to motivate you arguably even more, right? Because we just have this. He also told me well, maybe I shouldn't say that. If you're a CEO running a 100K a month company and you're solving the client's problem, you're not a CEO. You're a client success manager. That's what took me from like 10, 20K a month to 100K a month. What took me from 0 to 10 is like,
all right, guys, welcome to the first podcast. Here we have the man, the myth, the legend, Matt Shields. I believe he scaled from 10K a month to 150K a month in pretty much 3 months. So, Matt, do you want to introduce yourself?
yeah, well, Eric, thanks for having me, dude. I'm honored to be the first guest. Excited to chat with you. I think we're both doing standing desks, so that's fire. Let's go. Dude, I just got this a couple weeks ago. Life-changing, man. Life-changing.
It is.
Anyway, yeah, so guys, my name's Matt. I started a few agencies at this point. I've built 6 different SMMAs to 6 figures, multi-6 figures, and our most recent agency we took from 10K a month to 300K a month in 1 year. And like Eric said, 10K a month to 150K a month in 90 days. And yeah, I don't have a course. I don't have a program. Might make one day, but I just like making YouTube videos. I love business. I started writing a book a few days ago, dude, and I'm just like writing out all the things I've learned about SMMA and building an agency. I'm just reminded of like how much I love this game. Like I just love this game of business. So that's why I do content. That's why I do podcasts like this. And that's why I'm excited to chat with you today, dude.
Yeah.
Get some value out.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah. So yeah, I believe that when you first started your first few agencies, you believe you started quite a lot already, right? Like a lot of agencies.
Yeah, this is number 6.
Number 6. Wow. Okay.
Yep.
And how would you describe yourself as someone who was like very first starting out compared to who you are now? Like what actually changed about you mainly?
It's a good question. It's a really good first podcast question ever, dude.
Yeah.
Let's go. How would I compare myself back then to who I am now? Back then, Eric, I operated from a place of deep darkness and anger and fear, and I didn't know how to manage those emotions. So my way of utilizing that energy was transferring it into action, which was the best way I knew how to utilize it. Now I've learned how to manage those emotions better. I wouldn't say I've mastered them, but I've learned how to manage those emotions better. And so I transfer that energy into actually handling that energy rather than just distracting myself with action, and covering up what's actually going on. I've done the inner work as a human being, and I'm still doing it every single day. It doesn't go away. But now I'm a person who I think I operate from a little bit less of that darkness, and I focus a little bit more on love than hate. Okay. And I'm focused on like, how can I do the greatest thing possible in order to have the greatest impact I can as a human being, rather than how can I do the greatest thing possible so I can prove to everybody who ever doubted me that they were wrong. And it's a huge difference. And that darkness is still there. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. But the light and the love has become the more anchoring motivation for me of why I do what I do. And it's a funny thing because you think that anger and pain will be the most motivating feeling you can have, right? Like put a gun to your head and what are you going to do, right? You're going to get to work. But put a gun to your mother's head or to someone you love's head, and it's going to motivate you arguably even more, right? Because we just have this innate sense as human beings to like deep rooted, and it's been covered up by society, but deeply rooted in our nature, we want to look out for our fellow human beings. And like we know that if and it's primitive because if other people don't survive and we're the only people left on earth, we're fucked. And we're going to die and we're never going to reproduce and we're not going to get to achieve our mission of continuing the human race. So like deeply rooted in our nature, we want to look out for human beings and help them in some way. And I think I've just realized that because I've blown the smoke that covered that. I blew the darkness away that covered the actual light that I think I've discovered, which is we are here to serve our fellow human being. So I know that's a lot, but that's what came to mind.
Okay. And so I guess, did your self-image have a pretty big play in that? Like, I guess change your self-image to someone who's I guess, kind of has drives of, anger and all that stuff
Yeah.
into more like, I guess, love and positivity and all that stuff.
Yeah, dude, 100%. I just finished Psycho Cybernetics for the second time. I don't know if you've
Oh
ever
yeah.
read that book.
Yeah, it's one of
Yeah,
my favorites. Yeah.
incredible book. And Maxwell Maltz talks about in that book, you cannot change the self without first changing the self-image. Like
Yeah.
it's literally impossible to change. You're gonna pull out the book, aren't you? Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me see if I have it. Nah, I don't have it with me. It's
I
somewhere.
can go right here. So
But yeah, you can't change the self without first changing the self-image. So my self-image has changed a lot. Um, and I just have a better relationship with myself now. And that is the thing I'm the most grateful for. Fuck the money. Fuck, like, all that stuff is cool. It has its place. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like it doesn't. But what's way cooler, what's way more important, what's way more powerful, in my opinion, is just having a better relationship with your own self. So
mm,
that's the thing I think has changed the most and the thing I'm the most grateful for.
okay. Okay. And I'm actually curious, like, what really made you take you from 10K a month to 150K a month in the span of 3 months? Like, what I want to kind of understand the whole process and what
Yeah.
actually, like, I know you talk about like Newton's third law and stuff, but kind of I just
Yeah.
want to break it down a bit more.
Get into tactics.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. We won't do the mindset thing the whole time. Tactically, what we did to go from 10K a month to 150K a month in 90 days, we hired a sales team immediately. We hired commission-based closers. We ramped up our ad spend from 1,000 a month to 10,000 a month in the span of like 2 weeks. And we built a machine, an acquisition machine, because if you're an agency, you're not a marketing company, you're a sales company that sells marketing. And making that shift in our minds really dictated our actions and the shift in our actions, which is hire 3 closers, ramp up ad spend, fill their calendars, master sales management and how to get the most out of your salespeople. And then on the back end, how can we streamline the operations, automated onboarding, group onboardings, a more scalable model. So we went from like one-on-one coaching and one-on-one account management to a group and a community, which is way more scalable. And we really just focused on mimicking the flywheel model, which Amazon has, I think, really kind of I think they've innovated on it and they've really created it the most out of anyone I know is the flywheel model. I can talk about that if you'd like, but we tried to
Yeah.
recreate that for our agency. And once we did that, it just scaled. And that's why we went from 10K a month to 150K a month in 90 days. I think the other thing we did is we focused on the right things. Like we didn't get distracted in, oh, we have 12 clients now. Let's pause all acquisition and let's just like make sure we don't fuck up their Facebook ads or oh, a client their ad account got disabled. So like what are we gonna do? Right? We can't sell any more clients until we get our client's ad account fixed. The reason we were able to operate and focus on the right things is because we had a team. So I think the biggest thing we did is we had people that didn't need to get caught up in all the bullshit that we get caught up as founders, which is you're managing the clients, you're running the ads, you're doing the sales calls. So when one of those breaks, you inevitably self-destruct the other two. Versus if you have people who are focused on those for you, when something breaks, yeah, that's what you get drawn to as the founder. But then the other two things, they don't break too because your focus is not in all 3 categories. It's only in one category because you have people. So the best thing we did was we focused on the right thing. We hired a team and we invested massively in ad spend.
Okay. Okay. That totally makes sense. And like, so I guess it also, I think that's kind of like the power of having a team, because then you could actually, when your mind is
Yeah.
stressed, you can't really think of new innovative ideas. But when your mind's only on one thing and other people put out the fires for you, it's like, it's a way better setup.
100%. And, you still have to help them put out the fires. You still have to be there. It's not like, they just do everything for you. And then your
Yeah.
fire becomes them in their minds. So there's still fires, but you're leveling up the fires, right? Your fires are supposed to grow as your company grows. You're not supposed to be solving the client problems. You're supposed to be solving the team member problem who is solving the client problem. And then eventually you solve the manager problem who's solving the team member's problem, who's solving the client's problem. And then eventually you solve the executive's problem, who solves the manager's problem, who solves the team member's problem, who solves the client's problem. And like that is the natural ascension. If you're a CEO running a 100K a month company and you're solving the client's problem, you're not a CEO. You're a client success manager.
Yeah.
Get that.
But,
I'm short form content. Spencer, I'm
yeah,
sending you
sure.
this podcast. Get some
Good deal.
views, please.
All right. And then so it seems like you hired a lot of people pretty fast. So should
Yeah.
people hire as soon as they get a 10K month, or should they hire when they're the first client? Like, what do you think is the actual most optimal time to hire?
Dude, that's a great question. So I think we're a little bit unique because this was our sixth agency, and I say we as my partner and I, Jared Curry. It was our sixth agency, so we knew how to run ads. We knew a little bit about client management. Jared had ran a 100K a month agency before, so we didn't need to learn the skills anymore. Like, if you don't know how to manage clients, and then you bring in a CSM who doesn't know how to manage clients, how are you going to manage clients? You're going to have to now teach them how to do it when you don't even know how to do it yourself. So getting hands-on experience in the beginning was super valuable for me. I learned how to talk to customers. I learned how to sell. I learned how to run ads. I learned how to use Zapier, right? Like doing everything in the beginning to an extent, I think is okay. What I would tactically focus on offboarding is the cheapest skills in the beginning. So like appointment setting, cold DMs, whatever you're doing for appointment setting, calling leads who book and trying to confirm their appointments. Those things can be offloaded for like $5-10 an hour. So immediately offload the cheapest activities and then just work your way up to the most valuable activities based on what would it cost me per hour to find somebody else to do this, right? Like don't go offload the sales team and then go send all the cold DMs yourself, because that's a way more valuable skill is selling than setting appointments unless you suck at sales. So tactically speaking, focus on the cheapest hourly activities, offload those first, and then work your way up to the more expensive things like talking to customers, selling customers, all that stuff.
Okay. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Because I feel like if your time is, if your time's like valued at $50 an hour, let's say, and then you hire someone for $10 an hour, then it totally makes sense. It's like a profit essentially.
Dude, I'm so glad you said that because like
Yeah.
that is the name of the game of scale. And like Jared and I, we've always said our biggest flex SMMA wise is that we never sold a single client. Jared never sold a client. I never sold a client. We've sold over 600 clients. He's never sold one. I've never sold one. I've never managed one. He's never managed one. We've never done any of the hands-on stuff for over 600 people. And I think that's our biggest flex. And the reason is because we understood exactly what you just said, dude, which
Yeah.
is in order to scale, your job as an entrepreneur, as a CEO, is to focus on the highest leverage activity possible. And this idea of aggressive elimination of everything else that is not that most important thing is what allows you to scale and compound so quickly. If I know that I make 10K a month and I work 40 hours a week, that's, I believe, like $65 an hour. That's what you're worth, or something like that. My math might be off. One
No,
time my math was
I
off in
think
a
it's like, I think
YouTube.
it's 60. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
One
whatever.
time my
Yeah.
math was off in a video and I just got like railed for it. So I'm trying to make sure I get it right. But yeah, it's like $60 an hour or something like that. So if you know your time is worth $60 an hour and you're making 10K a month, anything that is below $60 an hour, immediately offload it. Not just in your business, but in your personal life. Cooking, cleaning, getting a chef, dude. Getting a chef, getting maids, getting somebody to mow your lawn if you have a house. Like here in my house, we were supposed to mow our own lawn. And I was just like, guys, like, I'm not going to mow. That's going to take me an hour and a half and I could pay somebody $30 to do it. Like, yeah, it's a little bit lazy. It's a little bit like fucking Gen Z. Like, all right, get off your ass, you millennial. I get it. But you're thinking like a broke person, bro. Like, you're just thinking like a broke person. Like, you think Warren Buffett's going to get out in the front yard and mow his lawn, bro? Nah, he's not going to do any of that shit because he's thinking about what is going to allow him to have the most value in his day and create the most value in his day. And that's going to be by focusing on the most important things. So aggressive elimination of everything that is below your hourly rate and then just focusing on the things that are above your hourly rate. That is how you scale. And this idea of decision fatigue, like the more decisions you have to make on a daily basis, the worse you get at making decisions. If you have to wake up in the morning and cook, then clean, then do your laundry, then mow your lawn, then go pick up groceries, then go talk to a client, then go do 50 DMs a day to try to get more appointments. Look at how many decisions you had to make, rather than if you just woke up, took a freaking shower, hopped on the laptop, and then had 5 back to back to back to back to back sales calls.
Yeah.
Like, look at the difference in the mental energy that you have to exert in order to achieve the result you want to achieve.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like the ROI is there so much, because I remember I was talking to my friend Zach Oldham. If you're watching this, shout out to Zach. But he was saying that hiring a chef or hiring like his maid has been the highest ROI investment that he's ever done.
I bet.
Crazy.
Dude, most human beings spend like an hour and a half a day cooking and cleaning, something like that.
Yeah,
Something
no,
like that.
it's something crazy.
So yeah, I haven't gotten a chef yet. I've just like meal prepped and done shit. Like,
okay, yeah.
so I'm in the process of trying to offload that. But like meal prep's another good way to do it. Um, I'm getting a chef though. Like
Yeah.
that is like the number one thing I need right now is getting rid of going to the groceries, cooking. Like I've spent an hour on that already today. I went to Whole Foods to buy all this shit, and I
Yeah,
cooked
bro.
it, and I cleaned it, and like all right, I just completely contradicted myself because I'm not practicing what I preach. Um, but that's because I don't have a chef right now, and I'm in the process of finding a chef, and I'm not gonna hire a shitty chef.
I'm
So
surprised that if you're already
um,
making 300K a month, it should have been offloaded by then.
you would think, but like I live in with a bunch of people, like I don't know, man.
Oh yeah,
It's just different because like I don't know. I don't know. The way I've done it in the past, I've just done meal preps, and
yeah.
meal preps are like a efficient. They were efficient enough for me. Now I realize like I shouldn't even think about that stuff. Um, so do as I say, or do as I say, not as I do, I guess, on this
All
one.
right.
But
All
I
right.
will have the chef soon, and that is my promise to you guys.
Sounds
My
good.
promise.
And so you say you're living with a few people right now. Why don't you
Yeah.
tell the audience about how important your environment is?
Yeah, man. It's a great thing to talk about. It was Lao Tzu, the Taoist philosopher, who said, "Be careful what you think, because your thoughts determine your words determine your actions determine your habits determine your character, and your character determines your destiny." So if you reverse engineer that, your thoughts determine your destiny. But what dictates your thoughts? The environment that you're in, right? So environment is like the most important thing in the game of changing your thoughts, which is the most important thing in the game of changing your destiny. So for me, I've gotten very, very strict about my environment. I just went home for the weekend for Mother's Day, and I was back in my old environment, dude. And like, I realized like I can't do that anymore. I
Yeah.
just can't do it. I can't do it. It changes my thoughts. It changes the way I act. It changes what I believe. I can't do it anymore. So right now I live with a high performance coach. He's been my best friend since I was 10. I live with another agency owner who does like 35K a month in the SEO HVAC niche.
Oh
And then
yeah.
our fourth roommate is a CEO for a plumbing company, and this is like his second home, and he's been here twice in the last 10 months, and we don't really ever see him. But yeah, that's the setup right now. So these are people that push me physically, mentally, spiritually, like just every day. Like we're all trying to do better, right? If somebody's slacking, eating bullshit food, drinking tap water, we're gonna get our ass called out. If somebody's jerking off and looking at bullshit, like they're gonna get their ass called out. We literally have something called the Casa Commandments in our
Oh yeah.
house, and one of the Casa Commandments, I was just showing my buddy who's visiting me. It says, "Thou shall not squirt." Which it basically is what you're doing when you jack off. You're
Yeah.
literally that's what you're doing, and so like that's one of our commandments in the house. So just having that accountability of people who are like, I won't let you go down a standard because I won't let myself go down a standard. Therefore, we all need to go up a standard. That is one of the biggest reasons that I've started taking my health more seriously. I've started taking my diet more seriously. I finally like legitimately quit porn and watching all that bullshit. I'm like 57 days in right now, which is a record for me. And like I would not have done that if I didn't wake up every single day and have people in my corner that were trying to go to those levels with me. If I woke up every day and my friends were just like frat kids and they were like, dude, let's go fucking take some shots and chase some women, and then let's go
Yeah.
fucking eat some burgers, and then if we don't get laid, we'll just come back and fucking jerk off. Like we'll be good. If that was my environment, I'd be fine. I'd just be like, all right, man. I guess I don't need to be that much better than them. So like, I'll
Yeah.
just because we're social creatures, we want to fit into our environments. That's how we are primitively designed. So who you have in your life, take a second to reflect. Write out the 5 closest people to you, right? You've all heard this quote, you are the sum of the 5 people who are closest to you. But when's the last time you've really given that some reflection? Write that out. Who are the people? How do they make you feel? What do they believe? Like, what do they believe? And then how do you think? And then just reflect on how that's affecting what you believe, what you do, and who you are. So yeah, that's the environment right now. That's how I've tried to optimize it.
100%, 100%. And I would suggest anyone who's like first starting their agency or they're gonna start, I would suggest getting into a new environment and just starting from absolute zero, because
Mm.
that's essentially what I did. And I realized like whenever I go back to my house in Vancouver, which is like 2 hours away, I don't feel like the same person. It's such a like it's a weird thing with the whole environment thing. So
Mm.
it's,
Dude, you got a clean setup. Are you like just living in like like an apartment or
no, I'm living in Whistler in the mountains over here. So
nice?
yeah,
Dude,
yeah,
that's
I'll
sick.
show you later. But yeah, it's
No
amazing.
distractions, bro.
Oh yeah, there's
Right?
not to know here. Maybe a bit of skiing and mountain biking, but that's kind of it.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay. Dude, that's
and
awesome.
yeah,
That's
no,
awesome.
it's amazing. And I kind of want to ask you this. I just thought of this mid conversation. So if you were to have a gun towards your head, right, and you were starting from zero, and someone told you you have to hit or you have to go from 0 to 10K a month in the next 30 days, how would you do it like with let's say like without the skills you have now, but kind of like I guess like the same similar
With
money,
money or without money?
without money.
Do I have any money?
Let's say you have 500, or let's say you have $1,000.
$1,000. Mm. I'm buying cold email softwares and I'm getting as many free trials as humanly possible.
Mm,
And I'm doing 1 week free trials and I'm setting the and I'm using free trial literally as just a way to get my foot in the door to communicate with the business owner. And then when I get on the call and I explain the free trial, I'm like, look, this is just 1 week as a test to give you an idea of what's possible. So you can kind of use the system. You can see how it works. You're probably not going to get rich in the next week, Mr. Business Owner, but you are going to see our system. You're going to have leads flowing through. You're going to have conversations coming in. I don't have I don't want you to have crazy high expectations for this next week because I'm guessing you didn't become a chiropractor or a realtor or whatever in a week. It's just the same with our system. It's not like you're going to get rich in the first week, but it's going to be a starting point. So I'm going to get as many of those seeds planted as possible. And I'm going to try to get, I mean, 20 plus free trials in that month. And then when their free trials are done, I'm going to try to sell them a paid in full package at the end of the week. And
mm.
that's going to be like 5,997 for 6 months. And if I sell 2 of those, 10K a month.
Yeah,
Done.
yeah, okay, that's
So I'm
super.
doing cold email. And my cold email system is going to be automated. I'm buying a list of people in my niche. That's the first thing. I'm paying somebody probably a few $100 to get all the emails and names and business names in my niche. Then I'm hitting them with my cold email script, which I can share with you if you want. Um, and then I'm doing the same thing on Instagram, Facebook. That's what I'm going to manually do throughout the day. The
Mm,
cold call. Because I'm like,
yeah,
if I have a gun in my head, then like I'm not putting chance into systems. I'm picking up the phone. I'm walking into businesses if I need to. I'm going in like my life freaking depends on it because it does. And that's how I'm going to act. I'm going to get as many, free trials as I possibly can, sell the PIFs. And then I'm just taking that PIF money. I'm reinvesting into ad spend immediately. I'm not holding on to any of it. I'm putting it all back into ad spend. I'm hiring VAs, offloading media buying, offloading client management as soon as I can, offloading appointment setting and DMing, and just getting all of that going and putting all the money back into ad spend, taking the sales calls. Then I'm hiring a sales team. Then I'm hiring a proper CSM. Then I'm hiring manager. Like, and that's it. That's it. It's
that's
actually
it.
it's a very simple game. It's just hard. And it's hard because like if you have a gun to your head, you'll figure it out. But most of us don't wake up every day with a gun to our heads.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the main problem with people nowadays because they're in such comfortable states they could just like live at their parents' house and stuff, and there's not
Yeah.
that much that's actually driving them to like fully go all in because they have the option just to like be comfortable again. So
100%, man. The biggest thing my parents ever did for me unintentionally was give me 10 months to make enough money before they charged me rent. They said I was 17 years old. I hadn't even like I was doing online school at the time. I left public school after ninth grade. And I was doing like online bullshit classes. And so I knew I wasn't going to go to college, and I convinced my parents to help me buy this course. And they said, all right, but you have 10 months or we're going to start charging you rent. And even though rent was probably only going to be like $500, only having $1,000 to my name, I was like, if they start charging me rent, I'm fucked because
yeah,
I'm going
you're
to have 2 months and I'm going to be kicked out. So that 10 months, I have woke up every day like it was life or death, dude. Like I worked 60, 70 hours a week. I skipped the parties. I skipped the bullshit. And I just grinded. I was just like, man, like I have 10 months. And then it was a month later. Damn, I have 9 months. Month later, I have 8, 7, 6. By month, with 4 months left, I was doing 20K a month.
wow.
So if they hadn't done that, I would not have pushed this hard and I would have been comfortable. So I agree with you 100%, dude. Put some pressure on yourself. As JFK says, throw your hat over the wall. So the only way you can get it back is by climbing the wall. Yeah.
Wow. And besides the actual, like, let's say, besides like the methods of going from 0 to 10K months super fast, like, what are like the mental attributes and characteristics that actually you need to go from 0 to 10K months? Like, I definitely think it's like discipline, persistence, consistency, mental fortitude, and positivity. But what about you? Like, what do you think about those?
I mean, I think those are all right. But the question is like, why do some people have it and why do some don't?
Yeah.
Like, why do some have it? Why do some not have it? And like, that's the question. Like, why don't you have discipline? Of course, you need to be disciplined, right? Like, of course, you need to take consistent action. Of course. But why don't you? Why do you think people don't take action? I'm curious.
I think their self-image is fucked, you know?
Mm,
Because when I was at least first starting out, my self-image was someone who's just, going to uni, someone who's, I mean, I kind of had self-image of someone who's kind of like different and stuff like that, but it wasn't at, 10K a month, for example. But then as soon as I swapped it to 10K month self-image, it was like within a few weeks I was out there. So
how did you swap your image? I'm curious.
I went into some pretty intense meditations. I went to like different dimensions, I swear. So I was doing these. Are you familiar with like the CIA Monroe tapes?
No, but it's definitely something my roommates would be familiar
Oh
with.
yeah. Okay, so it's essentially these tapes that the CIA was kind of mess around with, but there's certain modules and tapes in the entire collection, and you could go into different dimensions of it. So it's like it's pretty intense, but you essentially
Wow.
you have to like visualize yourself. Yeah, I'm sure you're familiar with like just visualizing your goals and all that stuff, but it's like it's way more intense, and you
Hmm.
start to go into like astral projecting all that stuff, and then you could start to visualize yourself and act like I remember I was visualizing myself like hugging my dad thinking, oh, I hit 10K a month, and like really feeling those emotions and actually like
Hmm.
believing that was in the present true, and
Wow.
that got me there so fast. So
Wow.
that was probably it. Yeah.
And I'm guessing you've passed 10K a month now.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go. What
Yeah.
are you at?
I'm at like 30K a month right now. Yeah.
Let's go, dude.
I'm spending like 6K a month on ads right now on TikTok ads. So I'm
How's
getting
that doing?
crazy. I was like at the start for the first like week, I was having like $10 cost or booked calls.
Wow. What niche?
Real estate. Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, man, that's fire. Like I really think that's valuable advice. I think the self-image is a huge part of it.
Mhm.
Um, I believe this goes hand in hand with the self-image, but I personally believe the most important ingredient in success is belief.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe something is possible, you will never take actions and take steps in order to achieve that. So, like, I've told this story a lot on my channel, but going to Joel Kaplan's event in Mexico, where there are a ton of 7-figure agency owners, and I was 19 making $0 a month in my agency, going there and meeting these people in person, I realized after that, like, I met like 30 people who are all at 100K a month or more. And I was like, all right, I know this is possible. Like I can't lie to myself anymore and pretend it's not possible. And there's a Marianne Williamson quote that I love, which is our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our greatest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. And I think deep down, most of us would rather settle with the comfort of believing we aren't capable of great things rather than experiencing the pain of actually accomplishing them. And so once I had the belief that it actually was possible and that I could make 100K a month, I couldn't lie to myself anymore. I couldn't sit in that comfort. I was just like, all right, I have to do this. That's what took me from like 10, 20K a month to 100K a month. What took me from 0 to 10 is like, it's dark, dude. It's dark. I didn't know how I would survive if I didn't learn how to make money on my own. And so thus I believed in my head that if I did not learn how to make money on my own, I would not be able to survive.
Mm.
And I knew I would never work for somebody else. I knew I would never go to college. Those were not possibilities in my mind because of the dark state that I was in. And so I really had one option, and that was figure out how to succeed as an entrepreneur or die. Like it was literally felt like life or death. That whole gun to your head thing, that was very real for me. And I woke up every day like there was a gun to my head. Because I thought there was. I thought that if I didn't figure this out and I had to start paying rent, I would have no money. I wouldn't be able to buy food and I would die. And it was very real for me. And like on a deeper, darker note, it was like I won't starve to death. Obviously, like my parents, well, they won't let me starve to death.
Yeah.
But I'd be so ashamed, and I'm already in such a dark place that like I don't know what I would do. I don't know if I would want to wake up every day anymore. And like that feeling of like the only way out of this darkness is to figure out how to become free by making money for yourself. It was the highest form of motivation that a human being possibly could have. And luckily, although it felt unlucky at the time, luckily I had that because it made me take actions that I don't think most people would ever take because they've never been in a dark enough place to think like that. So for me, I had a big enough reason why. Newton talks about, we talked about Newton's third law, right? Which is for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. The video I made, which maybe is the one you've referenced or watched, is his first law, which is an object in motion stays in motion and an object at rest stays at rest unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. Most human beings, most entrepreneurs are objects at rest, and we stay at rest and we stay in the hamster wheel of life. We stay in the rat race. We stay in the normal, just wake up and do bullshit all day because we haven't been acted upon by an unbalanced force. And until that's why I believe like trauma is the genesis of great accomplishments because you get acted upon by an unbalancing force that causes you to go from being at rest to being in motion, just like the law states. So because I had those unbalancing forces of trauma and darkness acting upon my life, I took my ass out of rest and I got into motion. And the cool thing is, once you get into motion, like the law states, you stay in motion. It's the law of momentum. So that's what made me get off my ass and do it. And discipline, grit, all that shit, all those character traits, like they were requirements because I had a big enough reason to develop those character traits. Right? You need a reason to become disciplined. If you have no reason to fucking wake up and get into shape every day, you'll never do it. There's no reason. You need a big enough reason why. So yeah, man, that's my rant on that.
Yeah, honestly, 1,000% agree with you. It's pretty crazy. I just feel like people aren't in those positions where they want it enough where it's like life or death. And I feel like you have to kind of artificially put yourself on those situations sometimes. Otherwise, you just get way too comfortable. So
Love it.
Yeah. And then also, I guess it's kind of a bit off topic, but what are your thoughts on Thomas's Gonnet's like SaaS model compared to just like the standard agency model?
Thomas Gonnet exposed.
Exposed.
um, First, I love Thomas. Thomas is just a cool dude. And I've been messaging him lately. He's doing some cool shit. So, yeah, I just want to start with that. I think the way he's building his software and I think he's doing it the right way. I
Yeah.
think unfortunately but it's just like normal SMMA. I think most people are going to do it wrong. They're going to sell UpHex and GHL, and then they're going to expect that they're going to make 10K a month and all their clients are going to love them because the price is so cheap and they'll just stay forever. But like, I don't think that is the reality. I don't think that is the reality. A commodity is I think these SaaS agencies, 99% of them are commodities, and commodities are things that are easy to find and easy to develop and have. And commodities do not create sustainable success, right? Like you have to have some unique mechanism, some unique value proposition. And I don't think the best way to offer that is by doing fucking GHL SaaS. Like I think you need a real moat in your business and you need some real form of leverage that you can provide your customers to be able to solve their problem in a way that very few other people are able to solve their problem. And GHL SaaS doesn't do that. You're just doing what all the agencies do, but cheaper. And they're doing it themselves now, which means they have to put in more work, more effort on their end, more sacrifice on their end. Like if you take Hormozi's value equation, which is,
Yeah.
I'm listening to $100 million offers for the second time right now. If you want to decide to do GHL SaaS or not, just go listen to that book. And I think he'll explain it way better than I do. But he talks about the value equation, which is like perceived likelihood of achievement times
Dream outcome.
dream outcome, thank you, and then divided by the effort and sacrifice, and then time to value, right? So time to value times effort and sacrifice, and that is the value equation. So effort and sacrifice are increased in a GHL SaaS model, right? Perceived likelihood of achievement is decreased in a SaaS model. Time to value is about the same, but they have to learn how to manage it themselves, which adds time onto what they want to achieve. And then what's the fourth one I'm missing?
Uh,
Perceived likelihood, dream outcome.
Dream
Oh,
outcome. Yeah,
dream
yeah.
outcome. Their dream outcome is not to have to manage their own damn ads, bro. Their dream outcome is to have appointments flown into their business, closed for them, and handed to them on a silver platter. So how can you get as close to that as possible? Um, I think GHL SaaS is just too far away from that. I think you need to have some offer on top of that. Like, hey, and our setters will call your leads. And we have a community where we teach you how to convert your leads and how to optimize your ads, right? But at that point, you might as well just run the ads for them. Like, dude, we manage 200 accounts with 3 media buyers, and we could do it with 2 media buyers. It's super, super simple. Like, ads are not the complex part of this game. It's not the complex part. Clients' mindsets and lead follow up is the complex part of this game. So I don't think SaaS solves that. I think it solves the wrong problem,
The wrong.
personally.
Yeah.
But I think Thomas will succeed with it. I think Thomas will because he's a winner, and winners win, losers lose.
Yeah.
I just don't know if other people are who are I don't think who that model appeals to. I don't think that demographic is quite as adept yet because it's a lot of younger people who are still figuring out how to play the game of business. And I don't think it is the best model for them yet because they're not going to develop as real skills, which is like actually learning how to market, learning how to talk to customers, learning how to do all that shit. It's like putting a band-aid on a bullet wound. And I don't think it's going to be sustainable success for most people, my opinion.
Yeah. Honestly, I definitely agree because I feel like you shouldn't be selling something where the client has to do like way, way, way more work compared to
Right.
you just doing it like done for you. Um, but yeah, that's I think he's at like 5K months right now, and I think he'll honestly definitely hit 20K months for sure because
Yep.
seems like he has like that drive. So
Yeah. No,
yeah, and then
he definitely will. I think he'll go way beyond that. He also told me well, maybe I shouldn't say that. I think
oh
he's gonna do well. I think he's gonna do well.
yeah, 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 and then also I was thinking, so you're saying that you're selling your agency right now. Do you think it's a smart move for the average person to sell, or should they just keep on grinding, keep on growing it? What are your thoughts
Whether
on
you plan on selling or not, you should build your business to sell it. There's a great book called Built to Sell that I've had recommended to me by so many mentors. And it just shows the right way to build a business is to be able to sell it, because you built the business to solve a problem in your life and create freedom for you to focus on new, more important problems. Like
Yeah.
financial problems are actually probably the easiest problems to solve. And you realize they aren't the end of the game. Then you have to go and solve mental problems and physical problems and deeper rooted spiritual, emotional problems. So in my opinion, the game of business is to create freedom to focus on what you want to focus on. Ideally, I think it's to focus on yourself and your development as a human being. So you don't have to wake up every day and figure out, man, how am I going to put food on the table today? But you can focus on, how do I become a better, stronger, more impactful human being on this planet? And I think business is just a great opportunity to get the freedom to focus on that like it's your full-time job. Now, you don't have to do that. You can go jump right back into a business, which is probably what I'm going to do. But remember why you created the business. Like, you created it for some sort of freedom, right? So if you're working 70 hours a week and you're making 100K a month, you don't have a business. You have a really high paying job. And until you sell or automate or create parts of the business that can operate without you, so it actually can be your business, right? Because most businesses, we don't employ people in the business employs us. And we're just a high paid CEO. So I think whether it's automation or selling or whatever, I think that is the right way to build a business, because the name of the game of business is freedom. I wish I explained that better, but yeah, the name of the game of business is freedom. If you build the business to sell, whether or not you actually do, it will at least be able to provide you freedom, because you've been able to automate, or you've been able to get partnerships that run the business for you, or whatever. Just get acquired and sell it all together. And that is way better, in my opinion, in my experience, than working 60 hours a week, 70 hours a week, making a little bit more money. It's just not worth it, bro. It's just not worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, because I feel like when you're first starting out, you should definitely put in those hours, but then
Yeah.
eventually you just should be automated as soon as possible. And that's kind of like what I've been doing recently as well, just like hiring just tons of people and just kind of have everything
Let's go.
streamlined and automated. So
Let's go. And
yeah,
I don't mean to say like stop working once you've automated, or
yeah,
like Hermosi still works 90 hours a week, but
yeah,
he's working on the things he loves. Like, he's writing a book, he's doing podcasts, he's making, like, he's clearly passionate about teaching business. So he's teaching business. He, works with his portfolio companies, I'm sure, and he does his whole thing, but like, he's doing the work he loves because he's built a real business. That is the name of the game. Like, freedom by definition is like just having a choice. Like, just being able to choose. So if you can build a business that allows you to choose, then you've won, in my opinion.
What would you say for like what's like some good pieces of advice for at least like every agency owner right out there right now that they could definitely take in?
Good pieces of advice. Okay, that's a vague question. That's a vague question. But it's a fair question. Um, Good pieces of advice in any specific area, like where
Yeah,
where do you
I'd
want me
say
to take
pretty
it
much just like out to everyone, or at least like for like the future of
of
SM.
the space?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, good question. Um, there will always be room at the top, no matter where the market goes, no matter if it turns into a SaaS model, no matter if we go into an even worse recession, no matter if AI takes over everything, there will always be room at the top. One of the things Alex Hormozy says in his book, $100 Million Offers, is become a victor of circumstance, not a victim of circumstance. Whatever the circumstances is, it doesn't matter. The question is, are you a victim or a victor? And that's why I believe like becoming the person is way more important than learning the tactics, learning what are you going to do when the tactics change? Like, if you're sending cold emails on instantly right now, or you're doing cold looms using AI, like, what are you going to do when the softwares change or when they become oversaturated? Like, you're just going to hop onto the next thing. You're just going to go to the next tactic. You have to actually develop the character traits and the real actual skills as an entrepreneur. So no matter what the market conditions are, you are capable of winning. Those skills are effective persuasion, always. Effective persuasion, leadership, being able to inspire people to effectively persuade for you and share their skills and gifts for you, right? So effective persuasion, I think, is number one. And that's written, that's verbal, that's that's really sales, and then like marketing, copywriting, coming up with things, creating a cold email campaign that effectively can persuade someone to get on a call with you, creating a recruitment ad to hire a good CSM, learning how to persuade people, like understanding human psychology, I believe is the most valuable skill. So it's more than just effective communication. It's like, can you understand how the human mind works so that when I say this word, Eric's going to think this. But when I say the word like that, he's going to think this. Like, can I understand how my words and my being and what I say and do impacts the minds of other human beings? Can I literally trade places with the people that I'm trying to get in touch with? Can I like literally transfer my mind into Eric's mind right now to think like, what do I need to say to get a certain response from him? Like, the better you can get at that skill, the more you just guarantee your success for the rest of your life. And so I think that's the most important skill, is learning how to understand the human psyche on a very deep basis and learning how to persuade that psyche in written and verbal ways. That's the most valuable thing. If you suck at it right now, that's fine. I was terrible at it. I did not know how to sell. I didn't know, like, I was terrified of talking to people, dude. I was really bad at it. But through studying, through reading, through practicing and failing and falling flat on my face time and time and time again, and through getting uncomfortable and just doing it and studying and learning from people who could just tell me how they did it and just keeping a student's mind at all time, I figured it out. I'm still figuring it out every day now and getting better at it. So yeah, man, I think that's the most valuable skill. Can you trade places with the human beings you're trying to influence? The better you can do that, the more you'll know what to say, how to say it, when to say it. And that really is the name of the game. It's communication. Words. Words are everything. Words make up the world. None of this means anything without our own words. So learning how to master that, the influence of words, the influence of how you can communicate in different ways to impact people psychologically, that is the name of the game.
Okay. And pretty much wrapping it up here, but what would you say to someone who wants to quit right now on the come up?
That's a really good question. Would you rather live with the regret of trying, and failing? Or would you rather live with the regret of giving up? For me, my biggest fear is regret that I was capable of more, but I didn't give it my all. So I will fail more times than any of the other people I know. But what I can't live with, what eats at my subconscious, is never trying in the first place, or trying and then giving up. If you're watching this video, you're probably, to get a little more tactical, you're probably 15, 18, 20, maybe 25. You're like a quarter or a fifth of the way through your life. If you continue to consume information, invest in yourself, learn, practice, fail, and even if you're doing it part-time, like if you do it for the next 3 years, it will become unreasonable for you not to make at least 10K a month. But you have to iterate from what you're currently doing, because if you are thinking about quitting, it's because you're doing the wrong things every day you wake up, or you're doing them in the wrong way. And so being open and conscious of that is the first step. Like, all right, I'm not succeeding because I'm doing something wrong. Cool. What might I try to start doing things right? What can I do differently? Who might know the answers to these problems that I'm having? How can I leverage their expertise? Right? So that's what I think about, being conscious of what you might need to iterate on and do differently. Like, how are you spending your time? How much volume of outreach are you doing? What does your messaging say? If you're not getting appointments, right? Like, your messaging either sucks or you're not sending enough messages. So like, how can I do one of those better, or both? And on a deeper psychological level, would you rather live with the regret of trying again and failing, or quitting and never knowing what you might have been able to do?
Wow. Wow. That's it's pretty deep. I totally thousand percent agree with you, to be honest. It's because I feel like the pain of regret is way more painful than the pain of discipline. And that's pretty much the name of the game.
It is, man. It's sacrifice. Sacrifice, by definition, is giving up one thing in order to attain another thing that is way greater. So, discipline, you're not giving anything up. You're actually gaining the most ultimate pleasure and glory of all, which is something greater than the comfort that you're giving up. So, I think about sacrifice a lot, and yeah, that's what I would think about. What do you need to sacrifice to get where you want to go? And sacrifice again. It's not a bad thing. It's not giving something up. It is giving one thing up in order to attain one thing that is way greater. So anyway, I'll leave it at that.
All right. All right. Well, pretty much wrapping up here. Do you have anything else to say to the audience, or?
No, appreciate you guys for listening this far. Subscribe to my man Eric. This was a fire first podcast.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Dude, 100K a month is coming soon from you. I just
It
know it.
is. I'm
Just
trying to
know
do
it.
it. Yeah, I'm trying to do it before September 1st, because then I'll go from 0 to 100K in less than a year, or just like a year.
Damn.
Hopefully we'll see how it goes, but yeah, it's kind of.
Dude, I love it, bro. I
Yeah,
love it. Let's go. How old are you?
yeah. I'm 20.
Sheesh.
Yeah, I'm turning 21 in August 14th.
Okay.
So yeah. Wait, how about you? How old are you? Are you
22.
22? Okay, okay. Where
Yeah, man.
where were you at 20?
20. So at the end of my 20s, I was, yeah, like the end of my 20s, I think we were at like, yeah, like 150, 200. But the start of my 20s, like when I turned 20, I was at 10K a month.
Yeah, yeah.
By the end of my 20s, I was at, yeah, 200.
Wow, it's pretty fast. And was that with I guess that was with the state AI then, right?
That was a steady eye. But again, dude, that was like, I'd still been in the game for 3 years. So if
Yeah,
you just, is this your first agency?
yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah.
That's, dude, forget the age, like focus on time in the game. How long have you been in the game? 6 months?
Yeah, or maybe a bit longer than maybe like 7. I started September 1st, so
It's crazy.
yeah,
Like that 7 months in the game, 30K a month, that's super impressive, dude.
yeah. It
Who
was.
cares if you're 12 or 24? Like that's super impressive.
Yeah,
So let's go. 100K a month in your first flat year.
yeah.
Oof. I don't know many people have done that, bro. It's because he moved to the mountains and he
Oh,
disciplined
I'm
himself.
out here in the mountains.
He's
Yeah.
out here hunting fucking bears for breakfast, bro. You're watching TikTok, jerking off to fucking Charlie Ray or whatever his name is,
Yeah.
bro. He's hunting bears in the mountains.
Eating seed oils and all that bullshit.
Eating
Gotta
seed
eat
oils, drinking
only
tap water.
steaks, raw honey, and eggs. That's
Let's go.
it.
uh, nah, congrats, man, though. Good luck. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
thanks, man. Yeah, I think it's just the power of paid ads, and that's literally all it is, and that's just how you scale so fast.
Yeah, yeah, but like you also clearly are it's more than paid ads, bro. Like you as a person are like ready to capitalize on the opportunity that's been presented by paid ads. Like
Mm.
there's everybody can go run paid ads on TikTok right now.
Yeah,
Like, but you have actually figured out how to make it work, how to systemize it, how to manage all of the mental, barriers that come with that of like, oh, should we turn off ad spend, or oh, we went 1 week without good results or whatever. Like you've managed
yeah,
that. So don't sell yourself short, bro.
yeah. Thanks, man. I feel like I've also just realized as you're young, you just have to maximize the amount of risk that you could possibly take, and I feel like paid
Yeah.
ads kind of plays into that, because I'm spending like about like, yeah, like 6K a month right now, and
Let's
that's
go.
like, I don't know. I feel like that's like a lot of risk, but I honestly don't care, because I could just make it all back in a few weeks with some other stuff. So
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it, dude. Good luck, man.
Yeah.
Good
Thanks,
luck. Thanks for the pod, dude. Like, that's your first podcast. I feel like
man.
I don't know about you, but I felt like you asked really good questions. I felt like you're a great listener. You let me ramble a couple of times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um and yeah, dude, I think yeah, I think this is definitely another thing that you may have in your future is some sort of content or whatever you're hoping to do with that. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, dude.
All right. Well, yeah, thanks for coming on the pod. Anywhere
Yeah.
the people could find you, just on YouTube and Instagram, I guess, eh?
YouTube, Instagram. Yeah, that's
Match.
it. If you DM me, I'll answer. If my answers are short, it's because I'm working. If my answers are long, it's because I'm not working. But sometimes somebody will DM me and I'll shoot them like a minute long voice message just trying to give away free
Yeah.
sauce. So DM me on IG if you want. I give away everything for free on YouTube. I try to make the most valuable videos in the space. Although I've gotten a little more contenty, I've
Yeah.
gotten a little less tactical, and I realized today like I gotta start dropping some sauce. I gotta start like just that's what I gotta do. So I'm working on that, but I'm also dropping deeper shit that I'm actually passionate about and helping people develop their minds and the way they think as human beings, not just as SMMA owners. So yeah, check the IG and check the Instagram or check the YouTube. That's it.
All right. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate you.
Shameless plug. If you want to start sending out 1,000 DMs every single day, check out my software Autobook. It'll be in the description. Anyways, if you did say wait to the end, you're an absolute legend for doing so. Thank you so much. And also, just like Matt said, make sure you subscribe as well. Also, just like the video. That'd be greatly appreciated. I usually respond to every single comment. So yeah, but yeah, this is going to be first guest of many. There's going to be tons more guys coming on here pretty soon. And also just tons of more content being rolled out over the next few weeks and days. But yeah, I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, take care.